Hello guys, and welcome to another episode of Retro Look. Today, I will be looking at the Mario game that revolutionized 3D Mario and 3D games as a whole, Super Mario 64. This game is very important. There is a lot of history behind this game. I will also be joined by Odyssey Central, who will touch on some aspects of Mario 64.
Hello everyone.
Before we get started, only a small percentage of my viewers are actually subscribed to my channel, so subscribing to both me and Odyssey Central would be greatly appreciated. So without further ado, let's take a look at Super Mario 64. Super Mario 64 was the first 3D Mario game, and was released on the Nintendo 64 as a launch title in 1996. To extend on what I said earlier, this revolutionized 3D games as a whole, and this was one of the first 3D platformers. Unlike other Mario games before this, instead of rushing to the end of the level, you search for a star hidden somewhere in the level. This is how most 3D Mario games work, with the exception of 3D Land and 3D World. The idea of finding hidden collectibles led to the creation of the collectathon subgenre of platformers, which was popular with early 3D games in the late 90s and early 2000s. Super Mario 64 was overall a very influential game that led to the explosion of 3D games in the late 90s. Super Mario 64 started development in September 1994, which was actually less than 2 years before it released. Many people thought the game was originally developed for the SNES with the Super FX chip, but that was confirmed to be incorrect, since Super Mario FX was the codename for the FX chip. Super Mario 64 had many ideas during development. Once, it was planned to be an isometric game, like Mario RPG, and at another point, it was planned to be more linear, kind of like Super Mario 3D World. The 3D graphics used in Mario 64 were developed using a Silicon graphics workstation, and Mario's movement was tested and developed on a simple open space. This game was also meant to have split-screen multiplayer, with Luigi being the second player. And yes, it was discovered 24 years and 1 month later, after Mario 64's release, that L is in fact real, 2401. Mario 64 was the first game in the series to have voices, so can you guess how many characters Charles Martinet voices? If you guessed 1, you are incorrect, since he voices Mario, Boo, and Bowser. Boo and Bowser's laugh was a completely different recording of Martinet laughing, which was pitched higher and lower. Despite the title Mario 64, the game itself actually runs in 32-bit, since it's an early 64 game that doesn't use the full power of the Nintendo 64. This was also the case for the DS remake, since the DS is only capable of 32-bit. The Super Mario 64 engine was also used in the creation of The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, and it also reused some of the assets from Mario 64. So overall, Mario 64 had a very interesting development history. In Super Mario 64, there are a total of 15 different worlds that can be accessed via the paintings in the castle. Most of the worlds of the game are very expansive and definitely push some of the limits of the Nintendo 64. Some of the worlds include Bob-omb Battlefield, which needs no introduction, Shifting Sandlands, which revolves around a pyramid, What Dry World, which is a flooded city, Tick-Tock Clock, which is a giant clock, and there are also a few others. Throughout the game, you have to collect stars in order to unlock doors to access different levels. Each level in the game includes 7 different missions to collect stars. 6 of those are normal missions in the level, and 1 is a star for collecting 100 coins. The 100 coin missions were also implemented into Super Mario Sunshine and Super Mario Odyssey. There are also several castle secret stars and the Bowser stars found within the Bowser boss stages. In total, there are 120 stars in the game, but you only need 70 to complete the game. Mario 64 had a few returning enemies, such as the Goomba, Koopa Troopa, Piranha Plant, Boo, Bob-omb, and some others. Mario 64 also added a lot of enemies. Some went on to be series staples. Some of the new enemies include Womps, Bullies, Scuttlebugs, Amps, Muddy Bags, Cheap Chomps, Spindrifts, and your childhood nightmare. Mario 64 has some interesting bosses that have a surprising amount of variety for its time. The bosses include Bowser, Womp King, iRock, Chill Bully, Wiggler, Big Babomb, Big Boo, Big Mr. I, Big Bully, and Big Chungus. Thanks for the Reddit gold, kind stranger. Instead of using traditional Mario power-ups, Mario 64 has caps, which gives Mario different abilities. The wing cap gives you the ability to fly, the vanish cap allows you to pass through walls, and the metal cap transforms Mario into Metal Mario, allowing him to walk underwater, defeat some enemies by walking into them, and to take up a slot on the newer Mario Kart games. Mario 64 in general has added many new additions that influence later entries of the mainline Mario games.
Mario 64 has a lot of interesting and fun glitches, which may seem like a bad thing to some of you, however to me it really makes the game much more interesting. The most famous glitch in Mario 64 is of course the backwards long jump, which may even be the most famous glitch in all of video games. These can be performed in several places in Mario 64, however these are mainly seen on staircases and even seen on elevators as they allow Mario to land quick enough to continue to build speed. This trick has a lot of applications for speedrunning the game, which I'll get into shortly. Speaking of speedrunning, another fairly well-known glitch is the MIPS clip. Using MIPS, you're able to clip through doors, which can allow Mario to access Dire Docks and Bowser in the Fire Sea early. One of my personal favorite glitches is the Hat in Hand glitch. If Mario collects a cap then immediately collects another one, then Mario will be holding his hat instead of wearing it. All you have to do is have Mario face perpendicular to a wall near a cap box and then repeatedly jump into it, and once the second cap spawns, go over and collect the first. This does actually have a few interesting effects on Mario's grabbing and throwing mechanics as well. If Mario picks up an object with this glitch active, then it won't actually appear in his hands. If you throw the item, it won't be thrown where you are, but instead where you threw your last item you picked up before using the glitch. I just like to have the hat in my hands whenever I do a star that has a cap in the area. The last glitch I want to talk about for now is cloning. This allows Mario to clone anything he wants to. This is fairly hard to perform, but if you pick up a crate or bomb the frame it's destroyed, then you'll have a phantom item in your hand that will be replaced with whatever item next loads in. The objects aren't always functional, and it's a bit confusing at times. But that's not even really scratching the surface of all the glitches in the game, but if you want to hear more about them, then I really suggest checking out Panenkoic and his uncommentated channel. I've been watching him for probably 7 years or so now, and he's really the person who started my love for seeing games taken to their limits. Now Mario 64 is very well known for its speedruns. It has by far the most speedruns of any game, with 18,000 submitted on speedrun.com, which beats out second place Mario Odyssey by 4,000 runs. A lot of glitches I mentioned before are a major factor in this run's popularity, along with just how optimized movement can be at a top level. There are 5 main categories for this game, not including category extensions: 120 star, 70 star, 16 star, 1 star, and 0 star. Why so many runs, you may ask? Well, let's jump into them. 120 star is pretty simple to understand, it's just the 100% category. However, this run has a lot of techniques to doing each of the stars in the fastest way possible. This is my personal favorite to watch just due to all the tricks required to complete many of the stars. Some I haven't mentioned yet are glitches like Bomb Clip that let you get through the Chain Chomp's gate early, the Lobby BLJ which allows you to get to Dark World faster, and so many more. Every second of these runs is filled with super fast movement and there's hardly any slowdown whatsoever. The record for this run is currently held by Simply with a time of 1 hour, 38 minutes, 28 seconds. 70 stars is also pretty simple to understand. 70 is the normal amount of stars required to beat Mario 64, so you can consider this the any percent category pretty much. This does ban all forms of BLJs and Star Door clips, however other than that it seems like all other glitches are allowed. The record is currently 46 minutes and 59 seconds by D whatever. Now we've got the more complicated ones to explain, starting with 16 stars. This is the most popular category to run, with nearly 1,000 different runners submitting times here. This one is much shorter than the other two, which makes it pretty open to beginners, but also open to high levels of optimization. Now why is it called 16 star? Well, obviously to beat the game with this category, you're going to need 16 stars. 15 are required to spawn in MIPS, which you can use in order to perform MIPS clip and enter the 30 star door early. The 16th star comes from Dire Docks, which allows you to get the key from Fire Sea to head upstairs. Using the backwards long jumps I mentioned earlier as well, you can pass both the 50 star door and endless staircase, allowing you to go fight Bowser. Another glitch I wanted to mention is called Cannonless, which allows you to get the star here in Whomp's fortress without the cannon, which saves a load of time. If you run at this wall and ledge grab it, Mario is able to collect the star inside. This is extremely precise, and while a few setups have been found, they're oftentimes somewhat inconsistent and will lead to many resets at Whomp's. The record is currently 14 minutes and 59 seconds by a key. The last two categories are 1 star and 0 star. These use the lobby BLJ to get the key from Bowser in the Dark World in order to get to the basement. If you do it with enough speed, you can even skip the star in Dire Dire Docks, leading to the 0 star category. If you aren't able to do it with enough speed, then you're in the 1 star category. Afterwards, the run plays out just like 16 star, making the record for 1 star 7 minutes and 11 seconds, and 0 star being 6 minutes and 32 seconds. All of Mario 64's categories are extremely entertaining and fun to watch and run. Anyways, back to you, Reecee.
Super Mario 64 has been re-released multiple times and was also remade once for the DS. The first time it was re-released was actually on the Nintendo 64 with the Shindo Pack version, released in Japan in 1997. This version patched out some of the glitches that were in the original Mario 64. One of the patched glitches was actually the backwards long jump, as Odyssey Central mentioned earlier, which makes it impossible to do some speedrun categories of the game. The next re-release was on the IQ Player in 2003. The IQ Player was a way for Nintendo to bypass China's former video game ban and to sell their games there. In 2004, Super Mario 64 was remade on the DS as a launch title. You could technically call it a demake since it runs on more limited hardware. Super Mario 64 DS adds 3 new playable characters, 2 power-ups, mini-games, and 30 more stars. I could make a whole separate video about Super Mario 64 DS, since it has a lot of changes to the original version of Super Mario 64. In 2006, Super Mario 64 was added to the Wii Virtual Console, and was added to the Wii U's Virtual Console in 2015. In September 2020, it was included as one of the games in the Super Mario 3D All-Stars collection on the Nintendo Switch. The 3D All-Stars version of Mario 64 is a slightly modified version of the Shindo release of Mario 64. The 3D All-Star version upscales the game to 720p, improves some of the textures, and adds more control options. The Mario 64 soundtrack is also included in 3D All-Stars, with the addition of a piano cover of Piranha Plant's Lullaby. Overall, Super Mario 64 is a very influential game that definitely was ahead of its time. It is one of the greatest Mario games of all time. It defined how games should work in a 3D space and created the subgenre of 3D platformers. Mario games after Super Mario 64 had many of its features, including the rest of the 3D Mario games and even the new Super Mario Bros. Series. I would also like to thank Odyssey Central for joining me in this video, and make sure to subscribe to his channel.
Over on my channel, I cover anything Mario and Smash Bros, so if any of that interests you, go check me out. Thanks for having me, Reecee.
So anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And also, check out my Twitter and Discord server if you want to. Goodbye!